name is Melanie Chacon, and I am here with Live Fit Tooele County. Standing next to me is Eileen DeLue. Eileen, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm a registered dietitian, certified diabetes educator, a mother, and a grandma.
Great, thank you. So Eileen is here to talk to us today about healthy meal planning. One of my things is that I'm terrible at planning meals, and Eileen has assured me that it's really easy. So she's going to show us what we can do and talk to us about that.
Okay, first of all, it took me years to get to this point. Back in the old days, I've been a dietitian for over 35 years. We did it the hard way. And now we've simplified things, and it works really well. If you want to remember a couple of phrases, remember half fruits and vegetables, be colorful, look for color, and look for variety. Basically, what we want to do is take a plate, and we want the plate to be, for a typical adult, about a 9-inch plate. So if you look at my plate down here, that's a much bigger plate.
Right.
The inside of it's only 9 inches. So this plate, this is the 9-inch part. So this can be pretty, and you could decorate that with cucumber slices or something if you wanted to.
Okay, but we can't stack our meat and potatoes on the outside and cheat.
If you want the consequences.
Oh.
You can stack the vegetables. Stack the vegetables high.
Right.
That's okay. And basically what you want to do, and some people actually do this, they'll start with a paper plate. But you want to draw a line down the middle of your plate, and if you look at our plate here, you can kind of envision a line. And on half of that plate, you want it full of fruits and vegetables. And we like vegetables to be predominant even over the fruits. The other half, we draw a line to split it again, and part of that is lean meats, healthy meats, and the other part are starches. So in vegetables, we've got corn, broccoli, salad, carrots, green beans, fruits, any fruit you can think of. And then in the starches, that would be things like potatoes and corn. Most people put them with the starches rather than the vegetables. It would also be your rice, your pastas, things like that, breads, cereals. Now, one thing we need to remember is that you don't have to have meat at every meal. In fact, most people get their meat servings easily in 2 meals. If most women, if they had one meal with the size of a meat like that, the other meal could be a third, half of that amount, and they'd have plenty of meat. So it's okay at breakfast to just leave that part blank or fill it in with more vegetables or even fruits.
That's really interesting because most people do plan their meal around meat, but you said you can actually start planning your meal around your vegetable, right?
Exactly.
So let's talk about vegetables because I personally love to steam vegetables, but I also like to add a lot of butter and salt to it. So it kind of takes away from the healthiness of the meal when you do that, right? So what are some tips for me and for everybody else in that situation?
Probably the most important thing is start somewhere. If you're only going to eat vegetables with salt and a little bit of butter, cut back on the butter. The salt would be better without, but you can wait to cut back on that. And just start doing vegetables. And then you can slowly cut back on the butters and the cheese and the creamy dressings and things, not necessarily cut them out. You can slowly start experimenting with different flavors, but start somewhere. Okay. Start somewhere and don't expect, okay, we'll admit that my plate doesn't always look like that. Don't expect that overnight. But this gives you kind of a proportional idea of what maybe you can cut back on and increase and learn more about. One of the new crazes, so to speak, that's going over well is broiled or barbecued vegetables. And some people will just mix them with a little bit of olive oil and whatever seasonings. There's a lot of recipes out there on the web. And then broil them on skewers, on their barbecue grill, or in their oven. And they're delicious. And that's such a new approach. You know, it's a little bit different. Yeah. Frozen fruits and vegetables are great, especially if the fruits don't have sugar added. So have some bags of frozen vegetables, stick it in the microwave for a couple of minutes, eat half of the bag, and then save the other half for snacks or something.
That's a good idea. So it's not such a pain. It's really easy, like
Well,
you said.
Yeah, and if you have each of those things available, so if you go to the store and think, do I have 7 good choices of meats, or maybe only 5, you're not going to do the other 2? Do I have 7 or 8 vegetables and enough quantity? Do I have some fun fruits? And don't forget the dairy, because we do want dairy, but we want lower fat. So low-fat yogurt, not a lot of added sugar, milk, cheese. Cheese is a lot of calories, but a small amount's very appropriate.
Good. Yeah, I really love the Greek yogurt, so.
And so do I, but it's more calories. So I choose the other because I don't need that extra protein. But it's changing a lot of people's eating habits for the better. You just have to decide where your priorities are. And if that's going to get you to have dairy, or if you can use that instead of a fattier sauce, that's probably a good choice.
Okay, good. So you mentioned we don't have to have meat with every meal. So what do you substitute for that?
Well, one idea is to not totally cut it out, to do the stir fry or the soup with just a little bit. Or the traditional beans and rice can be delicious.
Right.
And you can go online and get some great recipes for beans and rice, and then throw some other vegetables into. That's great. You can do a pasta without any meat. Throw in a bunch of vegetables, make the sauce yummy, a yummy tomato kind of sauce. You're in good shape. ChooseMyPlate.gov has details on each of those food groups and some fun ideas. I highly recommend that website. And Live Fit Tooele County will have a number of other links to other good websites online.
Great.
Okay,
All right. Thank you so much, Eileen.
you're welcome.